What's up, guys and gals, and welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, we're going to be taking a look at a title called Dreadhunter. This game has been pretty impressive so far. I've been pretty happy with the time that I spent with it this morning. So a lot of times what happens when you're in content creation is that, like, especially when you're doing variety impressions like I do, you're going to spend a lot of time playing games that are not necessarily to your preference, but they are to someone's preference, and you still want to get the word out that those games exist, and that they're a thing, and that they're valid, and people should check them out. This was not one of those cases. This is one of those games that the entire time, it's been pretty fun. This is a game that's been out in early access for a little while, but unfortunately was kind of like shallow on content, was missing some core mechanics. Well, they've updated it as of this week, and they've added lots of those things in. So we're going to be checking the game out today, seeing if it's something you wanted to add to your wish list or otherwise pass on. If after watching this you wanted to get the game for yourself, I got a link for you down below in the description. You can check that out there. On top of that, you'll also find a link to my Discord and my Twitch stream where I frequently stream games like this live. Wow, I just got tanked by a whole bunch of missiles and my face hurts. That's okay, I got my own missiles I can throw back at you. So in the case of this video, what in the hell is Dreadhunter? Dreadhunter is kind of this tiny Diablo-style action RPG that functionally came out of nowhere, but seems to be a sort of eclectic mix of Doom 2016, Diablo, and then with a little bit of Warframe mixed on in there. And I'm pleased to report that the developers actually did a really fantastic job with the core gameplay loop of this title. If you've ever played an action RPG before, anything along the lines of Diablo, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. This is a game about mulching huge hordes of enemies and also stacking up big gobs of loot along the way while being a space bounty hunter. However, it takes a lot of the ideas from Doom 2016 and applies them to the Diablo arena, which I think is actually a very astute, smart thing to do. Action RPGs have been a little bit stale for probably the last 20 years or so. They mix up the systems that they have inside of them, but at the end of the day, you left-click to walk up on a guy and auto-attack him, you right-click to use your spender, you have your builders on your, like, 1, 2, 3, whatever keys, and then from there, you try to get a gear set and make a build and things of that nature. This game takes it in almost like an Ascent direction and a Doom direction by making it so that it's a twin-stick shooter action RPG with loot falling all over the place. You have limited ammunition, though, for every single one of your guns, and the only way to replenish that is for the mobs to go into a Doom 2016 style stun when they get to a critical level of health, and then you execute them with your melee attack, and they'll drop a whole bunch of health, a whole bunch of money, a whole bunch of items, a whole bunch of goodies, all that kind of fun stuff, along with a bunch of ammo pickups that allow you to continue trucking on through the dungeon. This core gameplay loop is really, really good and very well implemented here. The developers have figured out the magic sauce to make this work, and it tastes good. So what I'm doing right now is that there's no classes in this game. Everybody is a blank tablet. You can do whatever the hell you want. You can play with whatever guns you want. Your guns tend to kind of like dictate what your build is going to look like. Guns in this game, they range from everything to plasma throwers to your average assault rifles, to pistols, to rifles, to you name it, shotguns. All that stuff is on in here. I myself have a chain gun right now that I've been using for a lot of my mayhem, but also I have a shotgun for when things get kind of close quarters. Right there, you can see it. And then I have an assault rifle, and I did that on purpose because all of these weapons count as kinetic weapons. All of the weapons in this game are sorted into groups by kind of what they do. Energy weapons, explosive weapons, kinetic weapons, that kind of stuff. And all the bonuses that you're going to find in the associated talent tree and other locations where you can customize your character are going to be based around those weapons. And so the game has a fairly large... Oh, I swapped weapons. I didn't even realize it. I ran out of ammo for my assault rifle. Those big muton gorilla guys are like a giant ammo soak. They take a long time to put down. Also, I'm only like midway into the build that I'm trying to do right now. I need to replenish my ammo. Let me mulch all these little guys real fast with my melee attack. Back to the point here, though. There's a lot of customization, a lot of building, and a lot of interesting things you can do here. I get the feeling that this game is still kind of early on in its development cycle. What am I destroying here? Am I destroying that thing? Okay. I was trying to get down to the bottom of what it is I'm supposed to be murdering. It looks like I'm supposed to be murdering this big pile over here. As far as storyline goes, in this game, you are one of the galaxy's most prolific space bounty hunters. You are armed with power armor. You drop pod on into enemy installations. And then from there, it's your job to eliminate high-priority targets that, of course, drop ridiculous amounts of loot and also make your life much better by giving you XP and allowing you to move down the talent tree. I actually don't want to fight you right now. You eat up a lot of ammo, and I would rather not have all my ammo ate up right now, please. That would be great. All right, let's wipe you out, get some ammo back from these two nerds. We'll go back to the assault rifle before this thing summons more mobs. Loose some missiles over there, and we've got another big runner that we got to take care of. Sort of unfortunate, but went down easy enough. Back on the statue, put some rounds on it. It looks like there's nothing flying around except for, like, those things are kind of like floaty mines. Just don't hit them. Go ahead and, oh, we got a whole bunch of dogs up in you. It's okay. The dogs are really good for getting ammo back right there. The game controls like a twin-stick shooter. If you've ever played one of those before, whether it be Crimson Land or any of those other titles, The Ascent, those kinds of games, you control your character with W, A, S, and D. There's no mouse movement here because obviously the mouse is going to be used up by your character using your aim for your dot and your reticle to fire on. And oh, there's two of them now, huh? That's fun. That's an enjoyable thing that's transpiring. We got one right there. I don't know how close the other one is. I think we got a lot of the same similar damage on him, so we should be all right. Let's light that thing up real quick. And down it goes. We've defeated our first boss. But as I was saying, very fast-paced game. This is a game that's going to come at you incredibly quickly, and I actually think that freneticism is going to work to this game's benefit. You move quickly. You dodge even more quickly. The enemies are fast, and you're going to need to have reaction times to get around some of them. Otherwise, you're going to get smashed. There are enemy attacks in this game that can soak probably about 30% of your health in one hit, so getting hit by them is never a good play. Oh, my. Okay, let's put a grenade out right there. See if I can get some ammo back real fast. She's staying on me pretty good right here. The game does come with multiple difficulty levels. You unlock them as you go through and beat the game on previous difficulty levels. I don't know if there's like a rift or anything else like that inside the game that qualifies as endgame content just yet, seeing as this guy is still sort of doing the rounds and being in development. Fire some missiles at this dude. Please die. I need more crits, man. There we go. That's the good stuff. You control with WASD, though. You aim with the mouse. Left click is going to be your weapon that you currently have equipped. Right click allows you to viscerally and very quickly jump into melee mode so that you can rapidly execute enemies on the fly and then, like, teleport away. You've got 3 dashes. You can take a look down in the bottom left-hand corner, and you'll see that we have our HP. That's the red meter. The blue meter is going to be our XP. You do level up in this game, and it does have kind of its version of a sphere grid or something like what Path of Exile has, where it's a giant grid that gives you a bunch of passives. But I think we're done inside this dungeon. Underneath that, you're going to see 3 light bulbs, 3 little Christmas lights. That's how many dodges you have left. It's very small and hard to see, so I just keep counting my head because it's not reliable to keep looking down at it. From there, you've got yourself your abilities. So if you take a look down there, you'll see that I have kind of like a little whirligig looking thing and also a missile salvo. Those are the abilities that I have equipped, much in the same way that it works inside of something like Path of Exile. In this game, you slot in abilities, and as you play the game with those abilities equipped, they level up independently, and they have their own skill tree. You will occasionally, out of chests or off of bosses or mini-bosses or something like that, you can get drops that are duplicates of the abilities that you already have, and you can take those drops and you can just flat out convert them into XP for the ability if you've got it slotted on in, which allows you to level up a little bit faster if you get lucky with the loot drops. I don't get very much chain gun ammo, but look at the size of my chain gun, dude. Look at that thing. That's a gun right there. I like how they put like a little sword on the bottom of it too, just in case I gotta like chain gun whip somebody. I don't know what the proper terminology would be right there. Whipping somebody with a chain gun, it seems considerably more painful and ridiculous than smacking them with a pistol or something like that. So I didn't want to call it pistol whipping, but there's definitely a weapon on there. You get armor, you get weapons that have random things rolled on top of them, although that system is a little bit different from what you've seen before in other similar games, and we'll talk about that in a minute once I get out of this mission, and I'll show you how the modding system works and how you can kind of like build up your kit. Yeah, maybe throw that over there, do a little bit of melee, fire off a little bit. Yeah, there we go. I got you all stunned up. I didn't want to pull anything from the next room, though. Trying to keep myself sort of in position right now. These little xenomorph guys are kind of being a headache. You got HP for me? Give me a little bit of HP right there. They've got the executions tuned very, very well. I think the way that it's programmed and why it feels so good is that when you put an enemy down to critical health, they get like 90% damage resistance or something. So it's very, very hard to like giblet them with accidental fire. Like you've actually got to go in and melee them to death. But if you hit them a couple times, they still die from like gunfire when they're stunned. And they've got that tuned like just right. Like it feels really good when you pull it off. A little bit of ammo right there just to stock up the stockpile. Destructible environments are nice. I'd like to see more of that. Not all of the environments are destructible, but a lot of them do show responses to being shot or being messed with. A couple little pieces of armor right there that we picked out. We got Big Gorilla Man up here. Let's give him the shotgun. Give him some missiles. He fired missiles back. We'll give him a grenade right there. There we go. I knew we could handle him. Let's go ahead and wipe these guys out as well. Through modding, you're going to be able to customize your weapons in this game to do other special things. So basically the mods add passives, but the gear that you equip is divided up into different sets of gear that make different types of weapons do interesting things. And then from that spot, there's also some stuff in the talent tree or like the passive tree that will also allow you to further make your guns do interesting things. So for example, I've got a kinetic set on right now. The kinetic set is allowing my bullets to travel faster so that I don't have to lead the enemy quite as much. It's also allowing me to have less spread on my shots so that I'm not spraying and praying like crazy. Oh my goodness gracious. All right, break out the minigun. It's the only way to solve this problem. There's a lot of high-value targets here that are putting out a lot of damage, and they all gotta go. We're putting that ass on sale. Oh, they're being soaky, and I'm scared. But we did level up, so that's good. That allows me to put in a talent point so I can show you what the tree looks like. Oh, no, dude, I needed to kill him for ammo, dude. I didn't realize he was flinched. Oof, what are you going to do? Did something drop over here? That's just the stairs. All right, I saw some kind of iconography up on the top of my map, and I was like, what is going on over here? We got something special happening? Splatty likes to stack the loots. He likes to stack the loots a lot. That guy's ready to pop. Anybody else over here ready to pop? You are. Let's go ahead and get you a power sword, eh? You want some missiles? You can have some missiles if you want them. There we go. Now we're all strapped back up on ammo. A couple more dogs down here. One of the big weaknesses that I found with the game is that the enemy variety is not very good. They will occasionally break out a new enemy on you, but not nearly as much as they need to for a game like this that's going to be actively competing with Last Epoch and with Path of Exile and all those titles of games that have positively oodles of enemies all over the place that all do kind of like different things and have different strategies to take down. They are going to need to boost up their roster of enemies by a bit. There's like a decent amount of them so far. I think there's probably like 12 to 15 different enemies that I've seen so far. The downside there is, though, once you've seen all of those enemies, it kind of just rotates through those. The bosses are occasionally different, like that tree that we just fought at the beginning of the video. I've never seen that guy before, but sometimes they're just kind of like recolored mobs that are much larger in size that you've already seen. Give him a little bit of that. Give him a little bit of that. I don't want you anywhere near me. No missile blasts for you. Everything in this game feels very visceral and very chunky and very impactful. I've been very happy with the gameplay feel of this title. I've been calling that the game feel. It's like an easier word to use. The game feel is right on the money with this title. Everything feels good, from movement to dashing to shooting guns. I think that the soundtrack is heady and almost intoxicating in sort of like a cyberpunk way. It sort of reminds me of the music the first time in Cyberpunk you go to meet Maelstrom, but somebody made an entire synthwave soundtrack out of that, and it works very, very well. Like, it's the kind of soundtrack that gets into your head and is almost kind of like stifling and withering. The gunshot sounds work in concert with that. They're kind of arranged along the same audio bandwidths so that everything sort of moves together and the guns that you're using become a percussive part of the song, not necessarily matching up with the beat, but they've actually got kind of like a similar chunky sound to them that the soundtrack has itself, and they work in cohesion very, very, very well. Weapon swapping and using abilities is utterly seamless along all fronts. There will be no delay. There will be no problem moving and shooting and looting and polluting the enemy with bullet holes the entire time that you're playing the game. Everything at a core gameplay level here is actually exceptional and feels really, really good. It's rare that a game has it this well put together in early access for their bare minimum idea that they're pitching the game at. I think we checked out a demo of this game about a year ago, and it didn't strike me back then as being anything special. Take my word for it now. If they can get like the item variety up, if they can get the boss variety up, if they can get the enemy variety up, and get all that accompanying stuff, you know, the gun varieties and things like that, they can get that all tooled up to a level where you've just got an enormous amount of choice. I see a very bright future for this game. It just comes down to whether or not they can focus up and get it done, because the core gameplay itself is a really good idea and a really good hybrid between a lot of different game spaces that work very well with one another that I think have probably been waiting to be connected, and just nobody's done it yet until Dreadhunter. And so I like what they've got going on here. I don't really have any complaints about anything specific to the gameplay itself. Every observation that I have is just that it needs more accompanying stuff to go along with that awesome gameplay. I've been playing for a few hours, and I'm definitely getting a little bit exhausted with the same enemies over and over and over again. I haven't really swapped out my guns that much. It seems like there's maybe like 3 or 4 gun types for each elemental type, so kinetic, explosive, energy. And so there's probably like 10 or 15 guns in the game that I've seen so far. The problem there is you can't just willy-nilly equip them, because everything from your armor to your skill tree basically dictates the type of weapon you're going to be running. So once you kind of get bored of the guns inside your class, I hope you like them, because you're going to be playing with them for a very, very long time. I missed him with the grenade, huh? He's moving around a lot. This is an obnoxious... Oh, okay. All right, a little bit of bullet hell action right there. I can see that. Let's give him a few more missiles. Man, he's speedy, ain't he? He's running around all over the place. I need to get some damage off. We're not even touching this guy right now. And like, he's so active and all over the place that I'm not really fatalitying enemies to get ammo back yet either, and I need to. Oh, he's got a melee on him too. Okay, so he's a little spicy. Apparently this is a brain transplant expert. Hopefully he's not going to be transplanting anything in my brain. If all goes ideally, I'll be transplanting some lead into his. Yeah, I need to execute you. We have very limited ammo sources right now. Oh my god. There's so many things happening around here, but I am stimulated at the moment. I definitely feel like I'm maximum strength 1 milligram pill gaming right now. And that's a really good sign when you play a game like this. Ooh, ate a couple right there that I didn't want to eat. Fire some missiles at him, maybe? I don't know if that's going to help out in the sum totality of everything that's going on, but he just dropped a bunch of ammo. And I'd like to get after him maybe with, like, the minigun a little bit. If we can just catch him slipping and holding still, and he stops ADD gaming over here, I think I can actually get some damage off on him. Back on the shoddy, huh? All right, shoddy's fine. I don't hate it. Down he goes. So we got him eliminated. You're going to get a giant loot explosion at the end of every engagement, and then it's just going to teleport you back to your ship. That's pretty much it. There's usually a chest inside these rooms, too, where you finish off the boss so that you get like a nice little 1-2 punch of loot. I actually don't see the chest in here, unless I completely and totally missed it. Oh well, let's get on out of here. So this is going to be our headquarters. This is where you take missions at. The game does make use of AI art, as far as I can tell, for their portraiture and whatnot. They're going to want to go ahead and get that swapped on out. Go ahead and hire a real artist to do it. We'll head to the market. Actually, let's take a look at our loot first. So we got some loot out here. Loot is intrinsically tied to the modding system. So you will get loot that drops and it has different mods on it. You can install as many mods as you have levels. So if you're a level 10 character, you can put 10 mods on a gun. Those are all passive mods. They're going to increase the speed of the bullet. They're going to increase your critical chance. They're going to increase your magazine. They're going to increase your knockback, your rounds per minute, all that kind of stuff. Every now and again, you will see a gun that's kind of going in a direction you like better than the one that you currently have. So that 10% fire rate right there is actually pretty spicy. 10% damage is not bad either and has pretty solid DPS on it. I've been stacking critical chance like crazy because the fire rate is so good on this, and I've been planning on anyways, taking things in the talent tree after having looked through it that give me additive effects whenever I crit, so like it fires shrapnel all over the place, or every time you crit, your character fires a rocket, or every time you crit, it lights somebody on fire. That's kind of what I'm moving towards right now. All fully automatic, like 600 RPM weapons that have a really high crit chance that proc a whole bunch of other random stuff to happen. I'm not high enough level to make it happen yet, but that's actively what I'm working on. We did get a power sword, and I'm sort of interested in the power sword, I guess, because it swings a little bit faster than what we've currently got. We're taking a DPS hit right there because this guy has a big attack speed modifier on it, but I can always add that. Oh, never mind. All 3 slots are taken with damage, crit, and knockback. Do we have anything better? We got a rocket hammer, critical damage. We got a spear over here with higher health drop chance off of enemies that you've executed. I think I'm okay. Missiles deal 25% more damage on direct impact, and then it's got ability experience gain and money drops. I think I'd rather keep my critical chance. I think I'm happy with what I've got right now. Shoulder pads wise, nothing that I really want. I am passively firing a lot of missiles, and I am sort of curious. I've got this mounted rocket launcher as like a cape, and it just fires missiles the entire time that I'm in the mission. Just shoom, 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 shoom. And so I'm kind of wondering what this would all look like. Could I just passively run through all the enemies zoom-in style, Path of Exile style, like exploding the entire screen if I stacked up enough damage? It's a valid question. We've also got some gloves over here. That one's got faster fire rate on it. I like that. I'll go ahead and take that. That's good stuff. We got Grenadier's gauntlets over here that allow you to throw grenades more frequently. We've got some pants over here. These are making my spread go down by 50%, which is pretty good, and I'm getting a big chunk of armor out of them as well. And none of these kind of go along with what I'm trying to do. We've got the Lancer legs so that I have more knockback on my shots. If I can find another set of Lancer legs, though, that are doing something a little bit different, I don't really care about the knockback, in all honesty. Not something that I'm super intrigued by. Over here, I've only found 3 abilities so far. It looks like there's more of them, though, from the spacing down here. I don't know if those are level gapped or what. I've been playing for probably 3.5 hours right now, and these are the 3 abilities that I've found. I've got Grenade, self-explanatory. I've got Barrage. That allows me to shoot a missile salvo at the enemy, and I'm actively working my way around the ring to make it fire as many missiles as possible. There's also Turret, which I haven't really played around with just yet. But you can summon a turret that shoots at guys, and you can change the damage types and things like that around, should you desire to do so. I did want to get 5% more damage, and this little node right here is going to make it so that every single one of my missiles that I fire creates a pool of fire that burns the enemy when they walk through it, and so that's going to be a really nice pickup. Next 2 level ups are probably going to go to there, and then +1 to missiles in the salvo. I don't know if I'm going to increase the burning pool damage in area or not. There are empty bubbles around. I don't know if those are like TBD, basically, like they're going to add those in later in the early access. That would be my guess. Right here, this is the skill tree for your character as you level up. It's divided up into the various attributes of what make a character. So you've got melee, you've got abilities, you've got defense. Melee makes it so more loot and more health and more ammo drops, and you get more damage and more melee attack speed. Ranged combat, what I'm working towards is kinetic weapons over here on this side, and I'm going to try to take everything that has to do with fire rate because we're trying to stack up crit to the highest possible level. And so if I can just get all the crit in the tree and then all the kinetic skills, I think we'll be in really good shape for some mag dumping machine gun fun. As far as how modding works, you're going to come over here to your stash. You've got the modding tab right here. You're going to take a gun. You're going to put it in the modding area, and then you've got these little chits that drop all over the map that will allow you to add that affix to your weapon. That's it. That's the whole system. So I can add fire rate right there, and then critical chance I think would be really good, but it's getting pricey to do it. To get critical chance up to maximum, it's getting chunky on the pricing. I haven't really done anything with my shotgun yet, though. Oh, no, never mind. I forgot I looted a new shotgun last run, right? No, never mind. Wrong gun. This right here, critical damage would be good. I'm actually not super in love with that shot. Oh, an SMG. That's new. I might be willing to give that a go. That'd be cool. This one's got higher fire rate. I think I like that one better. Like, the fire rate's gonna be good. Yeah, add some critical damage to it. I don't know how frequently it's gonna crit since it doesn't even have crit on the gun, but we can give it a try. I don't think I've really done anything with my chain gun yet either. I've only thrown a couple of things on there. Yeah, we probably want more critical chance on this guy. That would probably be a really good idea considering how fast it fires and like how merciless this thing puts things down range. Don't really care about the knockback though, so I may swap it out at some point. There's a shop over on this side. The game released without it, but it's here now. It rotates items every single time you go into a dungeon. You can buy out the things that you want, and the affixes that you're looking for are inside of here. Check it after every mission for the build that you're trying to make. We got Predator jets over there. Those don't shoot missiles. I like the Predator jets that shoot missiles. Those are the ones that got me excited. Let's sell off some of our excess guns over here. That counts as a kinetic too. Wow, 716 DPS on that bad boy, huh? I mean, we're gonna have to give it a go. We kind of have to. I know I just dumped a bunch of money into that other thing, but for right now, we're gonna sell everything off and then we're gonna get back into a mission. Okay, so let's get down to brass tacks because I think it's gonna take me a little while. I played for about 4 hours and I've got my thoughts all together here. So let's see what's right and wrong about this game in summation of the video. The good news, I think, is that this time around the block, the game is in really good condition. I'm actually hyped this time around to see what this game becomes in the future, whereas last time I played it, I was kind of like, you know, there's something here, but like, shrug, it's not together enough yet for me to tell. Now it is. This is actually badass, and I want to see more. On the good side of things, the game has great combat. It feels chunky, meaningful, heavy, swift, and it does all those things simultaneously, which is difficult to do. It encourages you to hot swap weapons frequently and fast melee execute people very, very quickly, and those two styles blend seamlessly together. It's a great idea, and it's executed really well here. The loot volumes, level varieties, that is to say the variety of tile sets that you play on, the gun feel, the skill trees, these all feel good and entertaining to me as well. Between the current itemization and I think the available skill trees that we have available, it feels like you can put something fun together without having to break out an Excel spreadsheet, which I think keeps the game's already breakneck pace moving forward without too many interruptions. Breaking up your gameplay to stare at webs of passives and try to figure out what you want to do next. The sound tracking and the sound effects, all fantastic. Great. Hit feedback is good. I've had no bugs. Everything on that end is stellar. 2 thumbs up. On the bad side, there's a couple of things that I'd like to see here. The reticle. It's very easy to lose track of it given that there are many, many polychromatic levels and your reticle changes colors. I'd like the ability to actually not only pick my reticle per gun, but I'd also like to pick the color of my reticle per gun and whether or not it has a black or a white outline around it. That way, I'm not losing my mouse cursor anymore because I've been losing my aim all the time in really hot, busy fights. The game, I think, needs more item, ability, and enemy variety. Well, I've had 3 abilities drop, and I've been playing for 4 hours. It's possible that a lot of the gear or a lot of the abilities might be level gated, but at 4 hours into the game, we should have seen a lot more on offer than I've currently seen. There's enough guns to keep you entertained, there's enough armor to keep you entertained, but abilities and whatnot to actually build your character around. I've only seen 3 of them in 4 hours, and so I don't know if that's going to be in a future patch or what, but either way, for an action RPG, there's going to need to be more. There's more. More is better here. More guns, more armor, more, more abilities, more things. These games live and die on just variety and replayability, and having that stuff in there is going to be necessary to keep this fresh. Boss varieties are okay, but I prefer the bosses that were completely new and untied to recolorings of the mooks that you're killing throughout the levels. I definitely like the unique bosses the best. The normal mook enemies are going to be the game's weakest point. The grist for the mill enemies that you fight going through the level, they get repetitive very quickly. By the time you've played like 4 levels, you've probably seen everything that I've seen, and then the next 4 hours are just going to be those enemies on repeat with increased stats. They don't really get new abilities or anything either from what I saw. That number is going to need to go up explosively to compete with other titles in the genre. It's just not avoidable. Like when your opponent, like Path of Exile, Last Epoch, you know, Diablo, it sucks to have to compete against companies of those size when you're a tiny indie game, but at the end of the day, you're trying to snipe some of their audience, and so when your opponent is serving filet mignon, you gotta make filet mignon too just to be considered at the table. It is what it is. But there's gonna need to be a lot more enemies in this game that do different things and have different animations and different behaviors to keep things fresh. I could probably keep playing the game for like another 2 or 3 hours, but if it's the same enemies for the next 2 or 3 hours like it has been for like the last 4, I'm gonna burn out pretty quickly. I couldn't find a spot where all of my stat bonuses were listed from my gear and my passives. This feels like one of those obvious things that should be in the talent tree where there's just like a sidebar that you can fold in and fold out that lists every stat in the game and what bonuses you're getting along with your totals from your passives and your gear. But I couldn't find it. Maybe it's in there somewhere. I'm not known to be the most perceptive person. But, you know, if it's that hard to find where I was actively looking for it and couldn't find it, it needs to be more obvious, or like a, you know, a sliding bar or something that comes out on the stat sheet. Or, I'm sorry, on the talent sheet. The stamina meter, it's too small. Those little dinky Christmas lights they have in the bottom left-hand corner, they're going to have to find some way to put that underneath your character so that you know how many dodges you have at any time. And in fact, I'd like to have my health somewhere near my character in the focus of the action as well. Or a larger UI that I could use with a larger health meter, like covering the bottom center of the screen or something like that. Because sometimes the fights are hot and you want to look down to the bottom to the left, but with a big monitor, you got to like turn your whole head to do it. And so just having it right there front and center with like an alternate UI, like a fast-paced UI, would be good as well. Sometimes the camera can be a little weird and wonky during boss fights because it wants to focus on you outside of a certain radius of the boss, but it wants to focus on the boss inside of that radius. And sometimes that system wrestles with itself. But I think that's about all I've got for the negatives here, and a lot of this is speculative stuff that might be fixed in early access or added in early access. So it may just be a case of I need to sit here and wait a little bit longer for this game to become the rad game of my dreams. I think all said and done, the main gameplay is badass. This is a really cool title, and I don't really have any complaints about the time I spent with it. There's some quality of life stuff missing that I would expect to see here, but other than that, I feel like this game is in a spot where they've got the core idea banged out flawlessly, and now you're just waiting for more content and more things to flesh out the experience as it moves its way towards 1.0. I think what they've got is really, really good, really, really original, and an astute hybridization of systems that we've seen in other games like Warframe and Doom 2016 and Diablo, all that kind of stuff, so I think the developers deserve to be commended. Pretty rad little title, dude. My name is Splattercat. I sift through the pile to find what's worthwhile in the world of indie games every single day, so you don't have to. Today up on the chopping block, it was Dreadhunter. Tomorrow, it'll be something else. Thanks for hanging out with me, folks, and that's all I got for you. Bye-bye.